Welcome to another deep dive, and this time we're tackling something truly unique, goalball.
You got it. And whether you're an athlete or maybe just curious about this Paralympic sport, I think you're in for a treat.
It really feels like goalball challenges our usual way of thinking about sports. Most of the time we see games adapted for different abilities, but goalball was made for visual impairment from the ground up.
Exactly. The focus here is completely on sound and spatial awareness.
And we've got some fantastic sources to help us explore this, a detailed goalball overview document, as well as info from the U.S. Association of Blind Athletes.
Perfect combo.
So get ready to kind of shift your perception of what sports can be. We're entering a world where silence is key, and the ball itself, well, it tells you where it's going.
That's a great way to put it.
Now, I was blown away to learn goalball wasn't adapted from something else. It was invented in 1946 specifically for rehab of visually impaired World War II veterans.
That's right. It was Hans Lorenzen and Sepp Reindl who really brought it to life.
So from the outset, it's been about inclusion, creating opportunities.
Exactly. And I think that's what sets it apart from many adapted sports. It wasn't about limitations, but about using different abilities to excel.
So let's dive into how this actually plays out. Imagine a court, 18 meters by 9.
Yep.
And it's got these tactile markings so players can orient themselves. Then you got the ball, which is basketball size, but
It's heavier, for sure.
right, almost 3 pounds. And here's the real kicker. It's got bells inside.
And those bells are everything. Players use them to track the ball. It's how they know where it's going, how fast, everything.
That must require some incredible auditory focus. I mean, I could barely tell where my phone is ringing half the time.
You and me both. But really, it's like players develop this sixth sense. They turn sound into a roadmap.
So on the court, you've got 2 teams of 3 players each. They take turns hurling this bell-filled ball towards the opponent's goal.
And the defenders, they're diving, using their whole bodies to block the ball.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it is. Full contact. But there's another crucial element. Everyone, players, audience, everyone has to be totally silent.
Wait, really? Why?
Silence is essential because it makes those subtle bell sounds stand out. Players can pick up on speed, direction, even the spin of the ball, all through the sound.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that level of concentration. To build a mental image of what's happening just from sound.
It's pretty remarkable. They aren't just reacting, they're building a 3-dimensional picture in their minds, predicting where the ball will go.
So I'm hearing you say that goalball is just as much a mental game as a physical one.
Absolutely. You could even argue the mental side is more important. There's so much strategy and anticipation involved. It's fascinating.
And we're just scratching the surface here. There's a whole other side to goalball that we need to explore.
It really goes beyond the mechanics. Goalball's not just a sport, it's a community. A source of empowerment, you could say. And it shows how resilient people can be.
I was getting that same sense reading stories on the USABA website. There's one from Amy who talks about how goalball helped her after losing her sight.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just about the physical activity, it was finding a place to excel, to be around others who understood her experience.
Exactly. That sense of belonging, that connection, it's huge. It makes goalball way more than just a game.
And this isn't just a local thing, right? We're typing global here.
Oh, definitely global. Played in over 100 countries. There are competitive leagues. It's in the Paralympics. It brings together people from all walks of life.
Speaking of Paralympics, I was reading about Team USA's recent wins. Pretty impressive to see those athletes performing at that level.
It is. They train incredibly hard, really pushing their limits, and it shows the skill and strategy that goalball demands.
It's really inspiring. But I'm wondering, what about goalball here in the U.S.? What does that look like?
The U.S. Association of Blind Athletes, the USAB, they play a big role. Their website's fantastic, tons of info, whether you're brand new to goalball, looking for clubs, programs, even if you have national team aspirations.
So someone listening, if they wanted to try it out, they could find resources through the USABA, connect with others.
Absolutely. They have everything, guides, equipment tips, even a directory of goalball clubs across the country. It's a great first stop.
This is so interesting. A sport designed for a specific group has turned into this worldwide community.
It really is. Speaks volumes about inclusion, about the human need to connect, to compete, no matter what your physical abilities are.
We've talked about the mental, the social side. But what about the actual sensory experience, being on that court, relying on sound to navigate, to compete?
Imagine this. You're on the court, blackout mask on. The world, as you knew it, is gone.
Oh.
But your other senses, they get sharper. You're not seeing with your eyes, you're seeing with your ears.
That must be, I don't know, disorienting and exciting all at once.
Exactly. And then you hear it, the faint jingle of the bells as the other team rolls the ball. That's when it hits you. This game is all about focus, anticipation, trusting your senses.
So, right from the start, it's the bells that create the picture.
Yeah, you're listening to every little detail, the direction the sound comes from, the rolling rhythm, even the pitch of the bells.
Pitch, how does that come in?
Well, it tells you about the speed and the spin of the ball.
It's like you're conducting an orchestra, but with sound. Those cues become your strategy.
That's a great analogy. But it's not only listening. You feel the ball's vibrations through the floor, you sense your teammates moving, trying to figure out the other team's plan.
A full-body experience, even without sight.
For sure. And all this happens in complete silence. The atmosphere in a goalball game, it's like nothing else. You could hear a pin drop, which really ramps up the tension.
Intense for everyone, not just the players.
Oh yeah, everyone's holding their breath, listening for that ball, waiting for something to happen.
I'm picturing it. The quiet, the bell echoes, then bam! Sudden movement as players react, guided by their hearing.
It is something else. Really makes you think differently about athleticism, about competition. But there's one more piece we haven't mentioned, the sense of touch. How important that is to goalball. Yeah, we focused a lot on sound, but touch plays a huge role in goalball too.
Makes sense when you think about it. We're talking about players diving, blocking, all in the dark. How do they even know where they are?
Well, remember those tactile markings we mentioned? Those court lines and boundaries? They're raised so players can actually feel them.
Ah, okay.
So they use their hands, their feet to navigate.
So it's like a tactile map in their mind, along with that sonic one we were talking about.
Exactly. It's this amazing combo of senses working together. And don't forget about the ball itself. It's no lightweight.
Yeah, almost 3 pounds. What's it like to catch or throw something that heavy?
It definitely takes some getting used to. Catching it is like stopping a small cannonball almost. You need strength, quick reflexes, and a good sense of where the ball's heading.
So goalball, even though it's built around sound and touch, it's still very physical.
Oh, for sure. And when it comes to throwing, there's technique involved. They use an underarm throw, rolling or bouncing the ball along the court.
I see.
And they can put spin on it too, make it curve or dip, which makes it harder to defend against.
So there's a real art to it, like a mix of technique and strategy.
Absolutely. Knowing how the ball moves, how it reacts with the court surface, how spin affects it,
Yeah.
all part of what makes goalball so interesting.
It really makes you rethink what it means to be athletic, you know?
It does. Goalball shows us that athleticism takes many forms. It's about adapting, pushing yourself, and finding new ways to be great.
I'm so glad we took this deep dive into goalball. It's a really inspiring sport. It shows human potential and the power of our senses.
I agree, and I think it leaves us with a big question to think about.
What's that?
If you could only experience a sport through sound and touch, how would that change your idea of what it means to be an athlete?
Wow. That's a powerful question. Makes you appreciate how adaptable we humans are.
Exactly. Goalball shows us that. It proves we can overcome limits, find new possibilities, even when things are tough.
Well said. And for everyone listening, if you want to learn more, or maybe try goalball yourself, check out the USAVOW website.
Great resource.
They've got tons of info and resources, whether you're an athlete, a family member, or just someone looking for some inspiration.
It's a welcoming community for anyone who loves this incredible sport.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep challenging how you see things, and remember, there's always something new to discover, both within ourselves and in the world.
To learn more about the Conklin Davis Center for the Visually Impaired and services we provide, visit us today at conklindavis.org.